FastLane is 12 days away. But before we talk about that, there's a lot of things we need to talk about. First off, the Super Bowl. The Broncos picked up the win. And we saw a more disgraceful Cam Newton. To be fair to him, the reason he was the way he was because of a Bronco that was having an interview not that far off from him, actually. So he did walk off a couple minutes after the press conference, like literally minutes after he sat down. But to be fair with what was going on, it makes sense. But at the same time, Cam Newton, a guy that went off, was probably having the run of his career. Probably the best year he's ever had. To the point where he basically forfeited the game by not going for that fumble. For those who don't remember what I'm talking about, rather, he went for the ball. Well, he was going for the ball, but then he stopped himself. I don't know if it was to not get tripped up by a Bronco that eventually picked up the ball, or if it was just he didn't care anymore. It was just the moment many people have looked at as the moment that he told us he didn't want this game. He didn't want the Super Bowl. He didn't want this ring. He didn't want this win on the biggest Super Bowl of all time, Super Bowl 50. The 50th ever Super Bowl. And he blew it. I mean, a win's a win. We're going to take it no matter what. But a win is a win. And if he took that fumble, maybe the game would have changed. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it all falls on one man, and that is Cam Newton. And that is his fault. Secondly, last night on Raw, the retirement of Daniel Bryan. This has been something we've talked about for a long time, seeing if Bryan was actually going to be medically cleared to the point where he was cleared by some doctors, but was not cleared by WWE's doctors. There's a big difference. It doesn't matter if it's the best doctors in the world in several universities, if there's the best neurologists in the world, as if WWE doesn't clear you, they're not going to clear you. You're not going to be in their ring. It's that simple. And a lot of people have looked at this as a career move for Daniel Bryan. I mean, if they're not going to clear him, he might as well not work for WWE, because it's the same situation like Rey Mysterio. Rey's contract was frozen when he was injured, and this has been the same thing for almost a couple years now for Daniel Bryan, ever since the first incident at WrestleMania 30. And I honestly feel, for those who remember that amazing RKO Batista Bomb combination through the announce table, that might have been the thing that ended his career. It didn't at WrestleMania 31. It didn't do that, but it slowly but surely was the final blow to that. Those headbutts at the ladder match probably didn't help either. But at the end of the day, Daniel Bryan is retired as of now. He is no longer a professional wrestler. Now, is he still under contract at this point? Or are they going to go the AJ Lee route and just release him whenever the contract runs out? I don't know. As far as I know, it is a 3-year contract still, so anything can happen. And plus the non-compete clause, so we won't see him for a while, unfortunately. But a guy who has done everything, been in Ring of Honor, been in Japan, been in Mexico, been in the NWA, been in, I don't think TNA, but been in the NWA, WWE, I mean, FCW, NXT. The guy has done it all. Since 18 years old, the guy is a legend. And you know what? There's nothing I can say bad about Daniel Bryan at all. The guy is a legend. And I would not be surprised if he was in the Hall of Fame this year, if not next year. Now on to the matches here for FastLane. Not a lot of changes. Fucking Windows 10 shit. Not a lot of changes here, but there are 2 big Diva matches. That's right, 2, count them, 2 Diva matches for a pay-per-view. The last time we've seen this, I believe, was, I want to say SummerSlam, when they were, a couple years ago, maybe. If not, the one with Stephanie in it. I'm not sure. If they had the title and then had the Brie Stephanie match, they might have. But this is the first time in a while there's 2 Diva matches at a pay-per-view. This is huge. First off, the Divas Championship. Speaking of Daniel Bryan, his wife, Brie Bella, will face the reigning defending Divas champion, Charlotte. And at this point, I want to say Charlotte on 200-day reign for her title reign. I am not sure. I'm just going to check real quick. Just check on it real quick and see the list of champions and the title reigns and stuff like that. Title history. Yeah. At this point, I want to say she's had it since Night Champions. That's not the list I'm looking for. There it is. So as of right now, she's 142 days into her reign. Now, if we look at this, that means she is in the top 8 of all time Diva Championship reigns, just recently surpassing Layla at 140. So, in 12 days at the pay-per-view, she would have held it past Caitlyn, which would be 153, if not 154, 155, possibly maybe more than that. But she would be in the top 7 at that point of all time, which was one title reign. And plus, she's the daughter of Ric Flair, so she's going to hold the gold for a while. But with that being said, with Daniel Bryan's retirement, with John Cena out of action, with Nikki Bella probably having a broken neck and ending a career maybe, and Bryan being retired, the whole Bella, Cena, even Bryan legacy now lays in the hands of Brie Mode Bella. And I would not be surprised if Brie somehow became the champion. I would not be surprised at that at all. However, because of our next match on the card, I believe it will be a triple threat at WrestleMania between Charlotte and the next two on the list, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, as the reunion of Bae. No, not the thing you call your boyfriend, Bae, which in a different language translates to shit. Literally. It's literal translation. But regardless, the best at everything reunited. Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, best at everything, facing the remnants of BAD. Beautiful and dangerous. So at that point, it would be Sasha and Becky versus Naomi and Tamina. Now, Naomi has been injured for a little while. I don't remember exactly what it is, but there was some injury on her, so she hadn't wrestled in a long time. She's basically been bringing out Tamina for matches, accompanying Tamina, accompanying Sasha, something. But if Naomi's 100% in this match, it'll be interesting to see what happens. This will not be a match. This will be a fight. This might not even be a fight. This might be a war at this point. And with that being said, if it is a war, then the experience factor will come into play in Tamina and Naomi. But at the same time, you have two women that are amazing at what they do in Becky and Sasha. And they've teamed before. They've teamed before in NXT. They teamed before in WWE. Well, not on the main roster, but on NXT they've teamed a lot. Maybe in FCW, I'm not sure. But I know NXT for sure, but I don't know about FCW, excuse me. But at this point, we have a war. And who will win? I don't know who will win this match, but I do know this. At FastLane, someone will die. That is a fact of life at this point. I mean, look at them. It's going to be a war, especially with Tamina in there. But at the end of the day, our thoughts, once again, are with Daniel Bryan.